Hello, welcome to Monday Night Live 54. Lovely to see everyone here. Hope we've got a couple of people here. Lovely to see you all here. So, a big happy Australia Day. I've got my little Australia flag here. Happy Australia Day to everyone. And this is Monday Night Live 54. So, as most of you are aware, g'day all, there's lots of people here already. Baz and Dustin's here. Narelle's had some luck on the weekend, I hear. Mark and Lynn and Baz. Andrew, Pete, lots and lots of people here. Lovely to see you here. So, as many of you have watched over the last week or so, had a fantastic trip with a few fellas up to Claremont, to the Cockatoo lease. Just an amazing little trip. So everyone really did have a ball. I'm going to get you the details for the Cockatoo lease guys later on in the show. I do have a couple of videos that I'm going to play for you tonight about the lease and all about that. We're also going to cover a little bit on how to find gold, mostly metal detecting. Yes, mostly metal detecting. And later on we're going to do creek reading and all that sort of thing. So tonight's more about detecting. So we've had a stack of experience, and I suppose the point of the trip was to go up there and really sort of put a lot of machines to the test, compare a stack of the machines and see how they were going, what was good, what wasn't so good, all that sort of jazz. So yes, so just an amazing thing the last week. Bloody hot, but that's fine. So, okay, so before I get started, because I'm likely to forget, there's a couple of things I want to just cover. Let me just get rid of that. On the 2nd of February is the 100-year reunion, 100-year anniversary of the Welcome Stranger find. A lot of work's gone into that. So if you're down in Victoria, all the details are there. There's a Facebook page for it. So yes, fantastic little event if you can get along to it. So that's this weekend coming. So that's that one. Now I also want to talk about I'll talk about this first. On the 24th of April this year is the Southeast Queensland Nugget Hunt. It'll be a fantastic event, 4 days. Donnie's running the show up there. Now you won't get a lot of this information if you're not on this page right here. So this is the Queensland Gold Prospecting Events page. So it will have the Southeast Queensland one. It will have other events that are happening in Queensland. So make sure you're a member of that page, particularly if you're in Queensland or you're travelling up this way in the if you're wintering in Queensland. Make sure you're on that page, because that will have all the events listed on it. So yes. So for those that don't know, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. We do this every Monday Night Live. There's the address of the shop up there. We're at Macravat, 50 Freda Street. That says. It's very hard to see in the sunrise there. But don't forget, you can also ring me on the below number. There it is there. There's the address up there, and there's the number there. So if you need any help, I have been a bit slack in the last week or so. I have a stack of messages to respond to, a stack of phone calls to record, return. Natalie's been doing a fantastic job while I've been swanning about in Claremont. So she's done what she could, and yes, I've got a lot of catch up to do in the next few days. So, right, tonight's prize, I actually haven't got one with me, they're sitting on the shelf over there, but tonight's prize is 2 bags of pay dirt. They're the $69 bags of pay dirt. So, yeah, just like and share, 1 entry per person, and we'll draw that out at the end of the show. So I may even go and get one in a moment. So, right, okay, so I suppose we should, there's a lot, Chris is here, and Anthony, and Paul Olsen. G'day, Paul. I've just spent a fantastic week with Paul. I've got a video of Paul digging a hole. It will enthrall everyone, no doubt. But we got Paul digging a hole. So good to have you here, Paul, to see your own hole being dug. So, like, what I might do is we might just go straight to the lease. G'day, Lynn. Baz is here. I think I've said hello to Baz. Andrew's here. Good to see you. Yeah, so everyone's here. Okay, good. So we might just go straight to the lease, I think. And this is the sort of operation. Excuse the video in this. It's a fraction ordinary. It's as it's filmed out in the heat and the rough and the whatever, so things are a bit jerky, and I've had to slam a little bit together. And so what you'll see is basically how they're working the lease at the moment. It's basically a push and detect lease in Claremont. So this is, let me just get this going for you now. Hey guys, we're up here on the lease again. Paul's just on the little excavator here, and he's digging a new trench through here. This stuff that Paul's digging out now has all been detected. They go down another 300 mil to expose a new patch. Now Barry is up the end here. We'll just walk up here, try not to get run over by an excavator. Barry's up the end here. He's detecting the patch that's just been scraped, and really thoroughly going over it here. So maybe got a target in there. Okay, so that's the sort of operation they're running there. The excavator runs, the small excavator runs. They're doing a lot of testing up there. A lot of areas they've opened up ground. They're currently detecting that area with. They're currently detecting it with a 7000. They use a lot of 7000s up there, as you'd imagine. and so basically they're pushing, opening up the ground, detecting it, going another step deeper, detecting it, going another step deeper, until they get down to bedrock. So that's basically how they're running it up there. They've also got a dry blower. They're looking at wash plant. Not a lot of water up there at the moment, so that's why they're not running the wash plant. So they got the dry blower running up there as well, sort of thing. You might have seen the dry blower in the background, sort of thing, and they're using that for more sampling, I think. So, so fascinating to see. We certainly didn't. We certainly didn't see all of the gold coming out, but there was little bits of gold coming out every push. So, and as gold prospecting, you hit patches and you get you get a patch of good and you get a patch of bad and you get a patch of good and yeah. So we had the opportunity, although we didn't keep any of the gold off the push, we had the opportunity of going and detecting it after the excavator, and it was heaps of fun to get involved in the whole operation. And I think that's a unique thing about up there. So. Okay, so the other little thing I wanted to show you too, I'll get these two videos out of the road just while we're early doors, so I don't forget about them. But this is a little video that actually Paul sent to me today. So Barry's up there, who owns the lease, and there's Paul and Jean were up there when we were up there. So. This is a video that Paul did to describe just how good Paul loves and I can sort of understand. Paul loves the 7000, the GPZ 7000. So he sent me this today. This is a hole he dug today, just to give you an idea of what the capabilities of the 7000 are. It's a phenomenal machine. So this is the little video that I've chopped up that Paul sent me today of a hole that they've dug. So I'll just get that one rocking and rolling now.
We're recording, we're at Maringan GPA, and people often ask how good the 7000 is. Well, I got a broad ground noise before, and we've come back, and this is a hole. Now, my gut feeling tells me we're in for rubbish, but if you don't live in hope, what chance have you got? We're going to keep going, got the crowbar and the shovel, we're going to see what we can do. So it'll have to be a couple of video clips. Pinpoint is going off, she's down in just underneath the tip of it. We're getting a bit closer now. Depth of the hole, bloody long way. Well, it is rubbish. I sort of guessed as much, but as you can see the rust stain, and that's coming in there in the corner of the spade. So, look how far. She's a long way down. Now that was gold. There's no other detector in the world that'll get that unless you're using the 7000. So, are they worth it? It could have been gold. Today it's not. But I'd never have anything else other than a 7000.
Okay, so that's a bloody deep hole, particularly a bloody deep hole to dig in the heat that they're getting up there at the moment. So that's a big effort. So yeah, certainly without a doubt the best gold machine on the market. It is 10 grand, but it does go frighteningly deep, and it seems to pick up fairly small pieces close to the surface as well. So no problem as the king of the pack. There's no doubt about that. So and of course, those guys up there have got a ton of experience, and they know how to do it. They know how to dig it. They know where the gold is. They know, yeah, they have been doing it for a lot of years. So right out of the box, there'll be a learning curve. So don't expect to pick up tiny pieces down deep without going through the learning. So so that's certainly it. Now Paul did, before I say anything more, Paul sent me another video that I probably didn't have time to play here tonight, but of the hole back filled in. So I've seen a lot of holes, particularly in fossicking areas, where the holes aren't filled in, and you can tell they're 7,000 holes because they're about 2 feet deep. So make sure you fill your holes in. So just as Paul did. So okay, so let's talk about lots of questions about how did the ORX go, how did different machines go. So let's just talk about the ORX just quickly. So the ORX performed. We certainly got the ORX to perform quietly. We didn't pick up any gold with the ORX, which was a fraction disappointing. In fact, I got one little piece for the weekend. I think Dustin got one. Adam, who was up with us, got two. So there wasn't huge quantities of gold found. In fact, this is my giant piece here. If the here it is here. There you go. There's my giant piece. That's sort of under the little. If I add my finger to the equation, you'll get an idea of how big it was. So that's it there. So just to give you an idea, guys, not a huge amount of gold found, but certainly enough to have a lot of fun. And that's how it goes with gold prospecting. Very, very difficult. Well, I found it very, very difficult to get dialed in on the ground. Basically 2.5 days on the ground. It was, yeah, it really difficult to get yourself dialed in. You really need a week up there, and but it was fascinating to go and do. I certainly wouldn't change that, but just that quick rush up the hill, you know, was a lot of hard work to get dialed in. But anyway, so if anyone's been watching, if anyone's been watching the couple of live streams I did from up there, this is the view from the long drop. Yes. Yeah, that's the view from the long drop. One of the best views in the house. So when you go up there, okay, at the moment the guys don't have a website, they don't have anything like that. They've got an ad on Gumtree at the moment, and this is what the ad looks like. Why won't you go across? There you go. Prospecting gold lease. So detecting for 1 day is $25, including camping. A couple's $35. There's 320 odd. 320. Look at that, right on. 320 acres up there. Borders the GPAs up there. Yeah. So. But yeah, so that's the Gumtree ad you're looking for. Also, I thought I'd just throw in here, that's Paul and Barry's numbers down the bottom there. So I'll leave that up for a couple of minutes if you want to grab a pen and paper and write that down. You can also hire their dry blower out for a couple of hours, and you get to keep the gold you find there. And also, if Paul's up there or Paul and Jean's up there, you can tag along with an experienced prospector for $250 for the day. So Yeah, but it's surrounded by all the GPAs. So, like, was 40 minutes from Claremont out to the lease, it's 40 minutes out and 40 minutes back. So if you're camping at the caravan park in Claremont, right, you're wasting an hour and a half each day driving when you could be prospecting. Yeah, so there's so it's certainly a good place to camp. You probably need to take a shower with you. There's no shower up there, but yeah. So I would suggest, someone just asked if there was you need a fossicking license. You do need a fossicking license, certainly to be in the GPAs, and it's $52 a year, so get one anyway. So yeah, that's the best bet. Biggest nuggets, there's been nuggets found up there 20 grams, but Paul and Jean, I think I saw Jean here too. Paul and Jean might be able to respond better to that, but I did hear of 20 grams, and I'm sure there's much bigger nuggets being found there, but we're just talking in the recent recent history sort of thing. So, but yeah, spectacular bit of country. So, VLFs in any goldfield. Let's talk about VLFs in any goldfield. So, RX, Gold Monster, any of the other, what's it called? Goldbug 2, any of the specific VLF gold machines. There's two things with them. You've got to settle them down. You've got to understand what they're doing. Okay, so if you're looking at if you've got an ORX in the goldfields, right? You've got to go to shallow ground. They are not going to pull a nugget that size, right, from more than about an inch or two. It's just not going to happen. And that's any VLF. If anyone tells you any different, well, they shouldn't be. But that size nugget is going to be, 3 inches max, 3.5 inches maybe. That's it. This sort of nugget, that's a 2 or 3 grammer there. I forget what that weighs, but that size nugget there, you probably pick up 5 or 6 inches down, right? And you've got to understand that. If you're in ground that's deeper than that, okay, so when I'm talking about deeper, I'm talking about ground that the rock is a lot deeper, you're not a chance. So you might pick up a straggler on the surface, but not normally. So there you go, 93 grams. So yeah. So really we're talking in this heavily mineralised ground, and I don't care whether you're talking about Victoria, Queensland, anywhere, VLFs, you've got to pick your battles with VLFs. So with VLFs, you've got to go to shallow ground, you've got to go to the collars of mine shafts where a little piece might have been dropped, you've got to get in the riverbeds and look at the rock bars, you've got to be... You've really got to pick your battles. You can't be in ground that's 2 feet deep. You won't find anything, okay? What a VLF is good at is picking through rubbish. So if you've got a particular rubbish patch on a goldfields that may not have been detected by PIs, so pulse induction machines, it's well worthwhile trying that rubbish patch, because you can look at it and go, that's a bit of rubbish, that might not be. So that would be my advice, sort of thing, is so you've really got to pick your battles with a VLF machine. Shallow ground, places where PIs won't work, sniping little cracks and crevices, that's the sort of thing. So yes. I just thought someone's described me as the Oracle. Geez, Anthony, I think you need another Oracle, mate. So I do think the RX is a very, very capable and a very, very good gold machine. If you're in the market for a gold machine and you're looking at spending $1,200 or $1,300, you know, you've got a number of them to choose from, and I think the XPRX is very, very good. The Gold Monster is very good. AT Gold's very good. AT Max is very good. So, you know, I'd be looking in that sort of thing. But if you really want to get serious about finding gold, go Pulse Induction, go SDC, ATX, 4500, 7000, depending on your budget. All those PI machines are $3,000 plus. So you can pick them up second hand cheaper than that, but yes. So, absolutely. So, right. So, tonight's prize. I've forgotten about tonight's prize. A couple of bags of pay dirt, $70 bags of pay dirt. So, all you need to do is share this live stream, and yeah, we'll send these out tomorrow. So, so does everyone still finish with, try that way, Barry's and Paul's phone number there? You can always contact me after the show, or it's on Gumtree. I noticed that they've refreshed it. That's the Gumtree ad you're looking at, prospect on the lease. So, yeah, make sure you can look it up on Gumtree, or just contact me and I will help you out with it. This is the sort of gold that they're finding out there. This stuff here. Which way? This way. No, that way. This stuff here is the general stuff that they're finding out there. This wasn't found in one patch or anything like that. It was found over, I would suspect, I don't even know, but I would suspect over a few days. Yeah, so that's the sort of gold that they're pulling out there. And yeah, it's fantastic. I think that was... looks like might have been Jean's bottle. Could have been Paul's bottle, sort of thing. So, but yeah, absolutely. So, yes. So, but in any of the GPAs, that's the sort of stuff you're going to find with a lot bigger pieces mixed in with it for a while. So, yes. So people are also asking, what did we use up there? Did we use a high banker? No, we didn't use a high banker. We used, there was virtually no water up there. So we used detectors mostly. We used dry blowers. There's some exciting news coming out about dry blowers, but I'm sworn to secrecy. But dry blowers, yeah, so we basically just used detectors, dry blowers, and on the push they were using exactly the same thing. They do, yeah, they do use a wet plant up there when it's raining, but the drams were virtually dry, so yeah, that's how it's, yeah. So yeah, so Jean just mentioned that bit of gold that I showed there before, right? She's just mentioned there that it's been pretty slow, so that's probably a couple of weeks worth of gold up there. So for them, and I kind of hope that you guys sort of know by now that you'll get a realistic go or comments from me. So so I'm not going to come on and say that that's wherever it is. That is 2 days worth of gold, you know. So we like to be accurate. Sometimes it's much. I would expect that sometimes it's much more, and sometimes it's much less. So yes, but that's what we're talking about here. So right. So any other questions about machines? Pete asked a good question while we were just waiting for any other questions about that. Does a dry blower collect flour gold? It can do. It has done. But it also loses a lot of that superfine gold. And it depends how the gold is. So with dry blowing, if you pick up a handful of soil and squeeze it as tight as you can, if it stays in any form, any shape at all, right, instead of just falling out as dust, it's too wet to dry blow. So it really has to be super dry. Now the problem with dry blowing comes in is when you've got that hard pack and it's not broken up. So if you've got small pieces of gold wedged in that hard pack and it's not broken up, it will just go straight out the dry blower. The other thing with it is because you've got air blowing up through it, that's how it works, dry blowing, air blowing up through it. Any super fine stuff tends to get a bit airborne and moves its way down the dry blower. So yeah, it will lose. I think last time we talked about dry blowing, I think Dustin said that a good operator will still lose 20 or 30% of the gold. So no, they don't get all of it, sort of thing. So right, okay. So right, Lynn, we could have dry panned as I've done before, Lynn. I've dry panned on the show. I covered everything in dust and lost a third of the gold. So I'm not a big dry blow fan, and turns out I'm pretty crap at it. So yeah, so that's what I think of dry blowing, dry panning. So yeah. So okay. Right, I'm just going through some message here. Blowing when as soon as it's clay all over. Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. If you've got any clay in your soil, it just holds together and it holds the gold out the dry blower. So it really needs to be super dry and dusty for the dry blower to work well. And some people will run it through a trommel first or some sort of light crushing machine before they put it through the dry blower, but it's a lot more work. And if you've got water, wet washing is the best. So, yeah, gold, Cameron asked, gold will be in the clay as well. So that's where the dry blowing, if you've got clumps of clay going through, you're not really, good luck. So, but yeah, so we've got some news will be coming out later in the year about some dry blowers. So we're very, I'm very excited about that. So the areas that they're pushing are, people are asking here, what areas are they pushing? So the areas that they're doing, like they've over the years, it looks to me like a lot of the ground has been pushed. There's dozers been through it. There's dry blow heaps. There's a couple of sections there that's just full of dry blow heaps. So there's been a lot of work in the area. Makes it a little difficult to read the country because the gold's not necessarily where you think it would be because the country's been moved around a lot. But they are detecting that area that it took there before is on a rise above a creek, a creek down in the gully there. But they tend to be up in the hills. They are testing a lot of fine gold down in the gullies. So at the moment they're sort of testing different areas and seeing what works and where the most gold is, sort of thing. That area on top of the hill there that they were pushed, they'd pushed probably a 50-metre stretch of that. So obviously they were getting pretty consistent gold all the way through, or they would have given that up. No trouble at all. So, so normally you get a run of gold and keep going up the hill. So they'll push this area, push it down to the bedrock, then they'll move to the next area and use that next area to fill the current one, so they can completely refilling all their holes. So yeah, okay. Now there's also been another event on the weekend. CQ Detectorists had their coin hunt up in where is it? Was up north there somewhere, central Queensland. really, really huge day. Lots of fun was had by all. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about just some basics. We've run out of time already. I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. These are our prizes for tonight. A couple of bags of pay dirts. Like this your live stream. Share the live stream. Actually, you don't even have to like it. You just need to share it. 1 entry per person, and it goes into the random generator, and it'll be picked out in about 20 minutes, and then I'll send these out to you tomorrow. So, or Nat will anyway. Has everyone been out finding some gold this weekend? Has everyone got some colour? Been interesting to see if everyone's been out prospecting. I see a lot of things on Facebook, so let me know. So right, so when you go in, we had a bit of a head start when we went up to Claremont because we were on a lease. The guys sort of knew what they were talking about. So I suppose I'll talk more about what I do when I just generally go into an area. So probably the first thing I do, I tend to go in areas that have held gold and have old-timer workings in them. I will also prospect new areas where the country looks the same and is not far away from those old-timer workings. I've spotted a couple of places on my way back to Brisbane that I want to stop and look at and spend a little bit more time at, simply because I'd been looking at that salt and pepper red country all weekend, driving down the highway, and I was like, hang on a minute, that looks quite good. So I've got a couple of areas marked there. I actually had to wander around a couple of them, and it actually made me an hour or so or a couple late. So if we were just to look at old timers diggings, how would you look at old timers diggings? So what normally happened with old timer diggings is that they would be down, one bloke would be down a hole, they'd be passing a bucket up to another bloke, and they would slop a bit out around the collar of the shaft. So that's a good place to look, particularly with a VLF machine, because you know that gold hasn't been there so terribly wrong. So, oh good, Cameron's got the your prize package, awesome mate. Yeah, so collars around shafts. Any loading areas you can spot them. A lot of the gear that was crushed, you had to be loaded and taken somewhere else. So any loading areas, and then if there's gold on the sides of the around the collars, obviously there was gold there for the old timers to dig it. The downside or around that whole area into the gullies, that sort of thing is worthwhile checking out as well around old diggers, old time working sort of thing. So Coral wants me to go to somewhere within 3 hours of Newcastle, quite possibly. There's gold in that area, that's for sure. So Nick had to go in Russell Creek today, no colour. Would have been a good day though. Stephen asked, should we detect that near the diggings or away from them? Stephen, I certainly would concentrate around the diggings, up on the collars, as I was talking about before. But then I would branch out. If you're not finding anything on the collars, I would certainly branch out, because there's gold certainly in the area. It's where your geomaps came in. Where is that reef? If it was alluvial gold, is there a reef shedding from up the hill that we should be looking at? Yeah, exactly. So, but the old timers didn't dig a hole for nothing. So, yeah. So that they're a good mob to follow around. So, right. Okay. So, okay. We're not really doing pinpointers tonight, but Blake has asked a few times here, what's the MineLab Pro 35 pinpointer like? I don't think you can go too far wrong with the MineLab 35, the Garrett AT pinpointer, the XP Deus, MI4, MI6 pinpointers. Any of those top-end pinpointers are well worth the money sort of thing. Some of the cheaper ones can... Certainly I've got pinpointers out there that I've paid $49 or $69 on eBay, and half of them work. So just bear that in mind. So, but yeah, any of the good branded ones, XP Deus, MineLab, Garrett, Technetics, Fisher, F-Pulse, any of those ones, you can't go too far wrong with it sort of thing. So, yes. So, and a funny thing about that lease out there, I just noticed a comment there about snakes. Didn't see a snake up there. Apparently Paul hasn't seen too many snakes up there. So, yeah. So, yeah. So it's pretty, well, it's pretty snake free up there from what I can tell. So, Scott, will gold ever replenish itself over time, or is it, or once it's found, that's it? So, big question. So, gold forms in a reef. Over millions of years, that reef has eroded, and therefore the gold is in nugget form. So, and that's just fallen out of a reef. That's a real spiky bit. So it's just fallen out of a reef. So yes, gold will replenish itself over time, but we're talking a long time, a very, very long time. We're talking volcanic activity, we're talking tectonic plate movement, and in our little short period on the Earth, the last, couple of thousand years, or longer, much longer than that, but we haven't seen that 40,000 years. We haven't seen that level of tectonic plate and volcanic activity like the previous million years have. So, yes, it will reform. Will it reform in your lifetime, mate? I don't think so. So, yes. So, sorry to disappoint, Scott. What it will do, though, is if we're talking flower gold, if you've got a spot, where you've gone and you've panned a heap of colours out and it's really, really good, right? After a flood, that will replenish itself because it's shedding from elsewhere, bringing it into that little honey hole, that little hot spot. And after a flood, come back, do it again, probably find the same amount of gold. The other thing I'd like to say is everyone should be recording their patches, and patches of gold. And when you've got a new coil or a new machine, new detector, go back and hit those patches again. You'll be amazed how much gold will come out of those areas. So, yeah. Craig asks, Geomaps. Geomaps are available all online, so you can look at the Geomaps and look for fault lines if you're going into a specific area. Sorry, the other thing I'd like to mention too is all of the states have their own mining websites, so you can go on to like GeoVic or Queensland Mines, or there's the tenement system in WA. All of that is available to you at no charge, so you can go on and start really, really researching an area. Pardon me. Researching an area and really planning an area. So, so that's something to think about. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So, okay. So I'm just scrolling through these comments here. I'm about 100 behind. Blake's got a Blue Dog prospecting team. That's interesting, Blake. Send me a PM about that. I'd like to know what you're doing there. So, Baz had a run-in with a 3-metre brown snake through the week. So, so that wasn't. I don't think he was terribly thrilled about that. So he was worried about it biting him over the over his gaiters. So yeah. Right. Okay. Meg asks, what's the best GPS to use? Depends. GPS wise, depends what you want to use a GPS for. If you want to use a handheld GPS so you don't get lost, I've used the Garmin ones. I've used a few different brands. They all work pretty well, but you've got to know how to use them. And you've got to know how to use them. Don't think for a second that they're just going to work for you. So get familiar with them. If you're using a GPS, if you want to use a GPS in the car and you want to do stuff like lots of waypoints to the old mines, geomaps, satellite imagery, all of that stuff, I personally use an app called Gaia, G-A-I-A, GPS. It goes on my iPad. I get live satellite maps in the bush, and it's the greatest thing that I've found so far. There are new apps coming out all the time. I haven't looked at it for 12 months, but Gaia is by far and away so far my favourite of all of them, because it gives you satellite maps in the bush, so you can spot something. So yeah, so yes, Paul talks about 3-axis compass. Yeah. Clyde, 3 metre browns only go to 6 feet. Well, this was a big one, so yeah. Michael asked a question: a harness on the website will be okay for an 8-year-old. It's fine. The Ace 200 too heavy. You'd have to try it, mate. I think it might be a bit long. I don't think it'll shorten up enough. But next time you're in Brizzy, yeah. Frank uses I guess it's an app called Backtracker. So that sounds pretty good, Frank. Yeah. Yes. And it's about, Stephen's just put up about 120 comments ago. Stephen put up a link to the Gaia GPS. So Gaia is good. Gaia it is. So right, let me just scroll down the bottom here. Yes. Kelly's got her prize pack. Awesome. I suppose yes, Dale makes a good point here. You can even use a laptop and a GPS dongle. You get a USB dongle that just plugs into your laptop, and you can put all your gear on the laptop, sort of thing. So James asks if there's gold prospecting spots at Mount Cootha. No, there's a stack of gold at Mount Cootha, but you can't go prospecting there, mate. So yeah. Yep. Okay, so just a bit of a reminder, we've got about 5 minutes before we draw our prize pack. So you're going to get about 5 minutes before we pull the get the randomizer fired up. So these are $70 bags of pay dirt. We'll send them out tomorrow. 2 winners tonight, and we'll get them out to you tomorrow. So yeah. Just on detectors, guys, I've just looked at my notes here, which I've just completely ignored all night for, because I'm just chatting like I do sometimes. But if you're looking to buy a detector, right, a $10,000 machine or a $3,000 machine or a $4,000 machine might sound like a lot of money. I just caught a Facebook post over the weekend. There's one of the blokes there buys a GPX 7000 every year. Okay, so what he does is he puts it on finance. He pays the finance, then he sells it for $8.5 grand, right? At the end of the 12 months, goes and buys himself a new one. So in the big scheme of things, if you're looking at, these things hold their value, right? You can go and buy a second-hand GPX 7000 now for 8.5 grand, right? 8 grand. So, you know, you've got to stump up the cash first, but it's not such a big investment because they hold their value and they're worth a lot of money. So, so get the best machine you possibly can. And if that's PI, and if you can, get a pulse induction machine because they'll be quieter in the bush. So the VLF machines will work, but they're much harder work and you'll find a lot less gold. So, yeah, Jeremy, I'm not going down the coil route. Like a nugget finder make a good coil. They all make a good coil. And it's all personal preference. It's really personal preference. So some people will like this coil, some people will like this coil. So it's personal preference. Everyone makes a good coil. Some aren't as good as others, but everyone makes good coils. So, right. Yes. So, yeah. So, and guys, every shop offers Afterpay now, and Zip Pay and Zip Money and all these things. If they're used correctly, right, they can work really, really well. So, but just, you got to be careful with those finance things. But, yeah. Alexia, hello Alexia. And Cameron, yeah, Cameron's youngest daughter, Alexia, yes. G'day, how you going? So, got to do a shout out, out to them. So, yeah. The thing is, you will get more a better detector. And we're talking about $3,000 here for, let's say $3,000 for a, 3.5 for an SDC or an ATX, right? They will find you more gold than a ORX or a Gold Monster. They will find you dramatically more gold. So, as you go up, when you spend more money, you will find more gold. So, just bear that in mind. They're not going to make a machine for $1,000 that will find just as much gold as a $10,000 machine. So, just bear that in mind when you're looking at these machines. So, okay. So let me just clean up a few bits and pieces here. This is the Queensland events page. Any event that are happening in Queensland, we can go on there. There's a stack of people on there. That's an old photo, of course. There's only 220 members, but the stack of people on there. Because we are, Donnie is preparing for the 24th of April for the Southeast Queensland Nugget Hunt. Let me get out of the road here. That's a bit wider than the other one. So get on those pages if you're coming to Queensland or you want to come along to some of these events. The events, I can highly recommend these events. Then we've got the Welcome Stranger anniversary of it being found. There's talks there from people that are descendants of the people that found it. Should be a phenomenal little day. It's a gathering. It's not an event. It's nothing. There's no catering. There's no bands. I think there might be a band, but there's none of that sort of stuff. It's just a gathering. People getting together in the bush and having a chat about that. So that'll be a lot of fun. Detecting will be had, I am sure. Yes, so there is, Chris is just asking, is there any price on the Southeast Queensland event? Not as yet. There isn't. It's still sort of been putting together. So it's still being put together. So Darren asked, what you get a 4500. The 4500 is a good machine. You get a really good coil on it, and you're sweet. So, okay, and then Oh, there's a kids token hunt too at the Welcome Stranger gathering. So yeah, this is so. I'm back on the loo. I'm facing the wrong way. It's a bit devastating to face the wrong way on a long drop, but here I am facing the wrong way on a long drop. So right, I'm just going to fire up this randomizer now. We'll just have a look here, and let me just get the other thing sorted here. Sorry, I'm just getting this all sorted here. Yes, so right, so I've just got that fired up there. So you've only got 1 minute really left before I draw the 2 prizes tonight. The pay dirt bags, $70 bags of pay dirt. So we'll draw them in just a minute. I'm just firing this machine up here. Yes, so just firing that up there now. Yep. Okay, so that's all ready to roll. So you've only got a couple of minutes. Don't forget too, if you need any advice on areas, the address is 50 Freda Street. Feel free to call in at Macrobat. And also, that's my mobile number down there. I do have a number of calls to return tomorrow. I've missed 4 or 5 calls in the last couple of days. So I will ring you back tomorrow when we get a chance. So let's fire up the randomizer here. And so the first bag of pay dirt, let's random up here. Right. First bag of pay dirt goes to MJ. MJ Spiteri. I hope I've got that right. MJ Spiteri, congratulations. Got a bag of pay dirt. I'll contact you straight out of the show. And the second bag goes to Ed. I don't know where you're from, Ed Dean. So Ed Dean and MJ, I will contact you straight after the show to organise to get that pay dirt out to you. Right, so next week I'll have to have a look at my schedule, but we might actually get into talking about how to find gold, because a lot of tonight was taken up with Claremont trip and sitting on the outhouse on the loo here. So we might even have a look at that next week. I'll put the post up on Wednesday like I normally do. Hope everyone had a great Australia Day. I know I did. So So okay, guys. I will talk to you through the week. This has been Monday Night Live 54. Have a great night, everyone, and I will see you next week.